Donald Trump with a major announcement today. He's not dead, by the way. We'll get to that. But this announcement will impact a blue state and a red state. Again, we're going to get into this in a moment, but it will have huge implications for the safety and the security of this country for generations to come as the next great battlefield shifts to outer space.
The U.S. Space Command headquarters will move to the beautiful locale of a place called Huntsville, Alabama, forever to be known from this point forward as Rocket City.
Okay, so more on that in just a moment. Tommy Tuberville standing by. He was in the room today with the president. But first, a correction from last week. We got it wrong on Friday when we said that gas prices were at their lowest level in 4 years. It turns out that $3.15 a gallon, the national average for a gallon of gas, was actually the lowest it's been in 5 years, meaning gas right now is the cheapest that it's been since the last time Donald Trump was president. But, and this is important, because that number would be a whole lot lower if gas in California wasn't currently selling for $4.45 a gallon. By far, once again, the highest in the country. Think about that. Everyone else is paying $3.15 a gallon or lower, but 50 million people living in Gavin Newsom's California are paying almost $2 more, especially if you put in premium. And we bring all this up because Gavin Newsom, according to a new poll, is not only the most popular Democrat in the country, he is the leading candidate right now for the 2028 Democrat nomination, which we think is strange, considering gas in his state, according to a study, could be selling for over $8 a gallon by the time we get to the midterms in 2026. And like almost everything that happens to Gavin, he is utterly clueless about this. He has no idea why gas prices are high in his state, and he doesn't plan to do anything about it, but he sure is sorry.
The degree of divergence from the national prices has never happened before. And oil companies, they provide no explanation. The fact is, they're ripping you off.
Yeah, Gavin, we know that 50 million people in California are getting ripped off. In fact, everyone who's got a car in California knows that they are getting utterly hosed at the gas pump every time they fill up because of you, Dep Newsom. This, of course, the same Gavin Newsom who had an affair with his campaign manager's wife. They got caught. It wasn't as bad as Coldplay, but they got caught. And then once again, Gavin went on camera and said that he was sorry.
Everything you've heard and read is true. And I am deeply sorry about that. I've hurt someone I care deeply about, Alex Turk, his friends and family. And that is something that I have to live with and something that I am deeply sorry for.
Yeah, he cared a lot about Alex Turk, but he didn't care enough about him not to sleep with his wife. And we bring this up because no matter how bad things seem to get in California, Democrats around the country seem to like Gavin Newsom even more. And we are saying this because it matters, because we're seeing it all over the country. The worse a Democrat does in office, the more presidential they look to Democrats, which is not only deeply disturbing, it's been going on for decades. In AOC's district in New York City, violent crime is up by 70% since she was first elected. But whenever someone points that out to her, AOC immediately says that it's time to reel in the media.
We're going to have to figure out how we rein in our media environment so that you can't just spew disinformation and misinformation. It's one thing to have differing opinions, but it's another thing entirely to just say things that are false.
Democrats don't care that she hasn't done a thing for her district in 6 years. AOC, according to Democrats, is ready to be president. In Chicago, it's the exact same thing. J.B. Pritzker has said for weeks that he doesn't want the National Guard to come in and help make Chicago safe. So what happens next? Well, predictable. More than 50 people were shot this weekend. 9 people were killed in Chicago over the Labor Day weekend. And when he was asked about that this morning by a local reporter when they were out for a very slow, very brief walk along Lake Michigan at 6 a.m. today with armed security just off camera, the governor literally found a way to blame crime in Chicago on Donald Trump.
You're going to hear people, especially this past weekend, 54 shot, 7 dead.
Yeah.
They're going to say the city's not safe. Would you ask your friends to ride the L after midnight or after, 9 o'clock at night even to come down to the city from O'Hare?
Look, big cities have crime. There's no doubt about it. But let's just pay attention to what President Trump is doing targeting Chicago. He's overlooking red states that have much higher crime rates.
Can you name one, J.B. Pritzker? Democrats, again, don't care that J.B. hasn't done anything for his state. J.B., according to Democrats, is ready to be president. Tim Walz currently presides over a state known for two things now: mass shootings and George Floyd. In fact, during the Summer of Love in 2020, we were told that it was okay for thousands of rioters to burn Minneapolis to the ground right in the middle of a global pandemic. They closed schools. They closed churches for years in some cases, but somehow strip clubs and liquor stores were all allowed to stay open. No COVID at strip clubs, I guess. The same Tim Walz who just yesterday told the world that when he wakes up in the morning, the first thing he does is scroll through his phone to see if Donald Trump is dead.
You get up in the morning and you doom scroll through things, and although I will say this, the last few days you woke up thinking there might be news. Just saying. There will be news sometime, just so you know, there will be news.
And Democrats don't care that Tim hasn't done a thing for his state. Tampon is ready to be president, according to Democrats. It's the exact same thing with Kamala Harris. Yes, we're still doing this. Kamala Harris, one of the great thinkers of our time, she is not. And as borders are, she let in millions of illegal aliens over the course of 4 years. And the mass media says nothing. But when Donald Trump tries to deport these same violent, criminal, illegal aliens, the mass media tries to manipulate the masses about the truth and about what's really going on. And we aren't mentioning these names randomly. After Gavin Newsom, AOC, J.B. Pritzker, Tim Walz, and Kamala Harris were all mentioned in that same poll as possible candidates for the 2028 Democrat nomination. A list collectively made up of some of the worst politicians of the 21st century. But these are the people that Democrats like the most. People whose only achievement, and I mean this honestly, their only real achievement in most cases was simply being able to get elected. Think about that. And these are the people who Republicans are supposed to be nervous about in 4 years. We think not.